All right, people, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about area, and we're going to keep things pretty simple. We're going to talk about the area of common quadrilaterals and triangles. All right, so quadrilateral area. This formula is going to work for all quadrilaterals except for trapezoids. We use area equals base times height. All right, it's that simple. You're multiplying together two sides of your quadrilateral. Here we have a rectangle. Our base would be 6. Our height would be 9.7. So we would just multiply our base times our height. 6 times 9.7. We would get 58.2. That's our area. And we label area with squared units. So this rectangle is 58.2 meters squared. All right, here we have a parallelogram. Now you have to be careful with parallelograms because they have slanted sides. They have angles that are not 90 degrees. Your base and your height have to form a 90-degree angle. Otherwise, you're not using the true height. So that's why a lot of the times you'll see parallelograms with these added dimensions that have dotted lines. This is the true height of your parallelogram here, all right, because it's forming a 90-degree angle with your base, all right. We will not use the measurements of these these diagonal sides. So for this parallelogram, we're going to multiply 2 times 0.6 to get our area, and it would be 1.2 meters squared. All right. Finally, here, this is a square. All right. And squares have sides that are all the same size. So every side of this square is 9 centimeters. So we would multiply base times height, and that would be 9 times 9. And we would get 81 squared centimeters. All right. What is area telling us? All right. Area is telling us how much space our figure covers. All right. So it's all of this in here. That's our area. Think of like if you're painting a wall. That paint takes up the area of the wall. It covers the wall. All right. So that's the area. It's the space inside your figure here. How much area your figure covers. All right, we'll move on to triangle area, which is slightly more complicated, but that's only because we are going to be multiplying base and height by 1/2, all right? Or some people like to think of it as base times height divided by 2, whichever. It's exactly the same thing. All right, so the area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height, or base times height divided by 2. All right, and the reason for that is a triangle is basically a quadrilateral that's been cut in half diagonally, right? So that's why you do base and height, you do base times height like you would a rectangle, but then you've got to cut it in half. Okay. Once again, it's important to remember that your height always has to form a 90-degree angle with the base. This is where a lot of people get in trouble because, you know, a lot of the times in textbooks or on worksheets, they're going to give you the measurements of these other sides. You will not use them. You're going to use, you know, whatever side, whatever forms a 90-degree angle with the base of your triangle. So that's why, again, we see these like extra dimensions given with diagonal lines. All right. So our first triangle here, we have a base of 3 and a height of 3.6. So we will multiply 3 times 3.6 to get 10.8. A lot of kids would stop there. Well, we have to remember to divide by 2 or multiply by 1/2. Either way you do it, you would get 5.4 kilometers cubed. I'm sorry, squared. 5.4 kilometers squared. All right, this triangle, we have a base of 11 and a height of 2.4. So you multiply 11 times 2.4 to get 26.4, but then you have to divide by 2 to get 13.2 yards squared. Okay, last but not least, we have this triangle with a base of 9 and a height of 7.8. We would multiply 9 times 7.8, and then we would divide by 2 to get 35.1 inches squared. Okay, and that's it for just the basics of area. That's as basic as we're going to get.